The teasers dropped. The fandom went silent. In an instant, the entire K-pop world was turned upside down. One midnight encounter in an alleyway, a flashing phone, a brutal assault. And suddenly, one of K-pop's biggest female soloists is fighting for her career. Today, we are unpacking the explosive headline, "She exposed the truth to police," and looking at Jessi's final statement. Welcome to StarScope K-Report.
Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
So today's mission is really about piercing through the noise of, honestly, one of the most volatile controversies of the decade.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was everywhere.
Right. We have a massive stack of source material on the table for this deep dive. We're looking at official agency statements from DoD Entertainment and UNNI, the final police reports from the Seoul Gangnam Precinct, and this meticulous frame-by-frame CCTV analysis published by Seoulite TV.
Which, by the way, that CCTV breakdown is just wow. It completely changes the narrative.
It really does. So we are tracing the timeline of Jessi's September 2024 fan assault incident. We really need to understand the mechanics of this scandal, how it dismantled her professional infrastructure in a matter of days.
Yeah, and the massive cultural earthquake it caused within her fandom.
Exactly. And of course, the anatomy of her unprecedented comeback.
The sheer velocity of this story is just staggering because, I mean, before we even get to the evidence that ultimately cleared Jessi's name, we have to immerse ourselves in the cultural context of that night.
Right, this setup is crucial.
Yeah, because what happened in that alleyway nearly erased a K-pop icon overnight. And it exposes a very raw nerve in how the Korean entertainment industry functions when public sentiment turns hostile.
So the timeline anchors everything here. The date is September 29, 2024. The location is Gangnam, southern Seoul.
Right in the heart of everything.
Yep. It's late at night, and Jessi is out with a group. This includes the rapper and producer Koala, alongside several other acquaintances.
Just a normal night out.
Right. And then an 18-year-old high school student, who happens to be a massive fan, spots her and approaches the group to ask for a photo. According to the timeline from multiple reports, Jessi politely declines the request.
And in idol culture, that kind of interaction happens all the time. Fans know the drill.
Yeah.
And the fan actually handles it perfectly. He apologizes for intruding, he backs away, and he prepares to leave. In a normal universe, that is just the end of the story. Just a slightly disappointing, mundane fan encounter.
But the situation violently fractures right at that moment. A man in the group, a Taiwanese national that netizens would later dub Joker, steps forward and brutally strikes a teenage fan in the face.
It's just horrifying.
It is. It's an unprovoked, shocking assault on a high schooler.
And the domestic backlash was swift. I mean, it was merciless. When the news broke, K-nets absolutely erupted.
Which you can kind of understand given the initial reports.
Oh, for sure. You have to understand the sacred geometry of the K-pop industry here. The relationship between an idol and their fandom is built on this foundation of fierce mutual loyalty. The unspoken contract is that you protect and cherish your fans above all else.
Right. They're the reason you have a career.
Exactly. But the early media reports completely shattered that illusion. A major broadcast network, JTBC, aired heavily edited footage of the incident. And the way the clip was cut, it painted this horrifying narrative. It made it look as though Jessi just, passively stood by, watched her fan get beaten, abandoned him in the street, and then fled the scene to go drinking at a nearby bar.
And the professional destruction that followed gives us a masterclass in the brutal math of K-pop public relations.
It really does.
Just look at the timeline. I mean, Jessi debuted back in 2005. She endured years of struggling to adapt to Korean culture. She famously slept in saunas at her lowest points.
Yeah, she really fought her way to the top.
She did. She finally breaks through on Unpretty Rap Star, forms the supergroup Refund Sisters, and lands these massive global hits like Nunu Nana and Zoom under P Nation. And by September 20, 2024, she reaches the pinnacle of veteran soloist independence.
Establishing her own label.
Exactly. She signs a management contract with DoD Entertainment and launches her very own label, UNNI.
Which is the ultimate flex for a female soloist in this industry. It means total creative control. It means you survived the machine and you are now the architect of your own sound.
Yet just 9 days after that triumphant announcement, the Gangnam incident occurs, and by October 18, DoD Entertainment announces they have terminated her contract at her request.
Less than a month after launch.
Less than a month. The entire corporate structure is dissolved. The mechanics of this are fascinating because an independent label attached to a major distributor doesn't just fold over a bad tweet.
No, not at all.
This is about the total collapse of an economic ecosystem. When a scandal of this magnitude hits, advertisers panic and pull brand deals, investors freeze capital.
Oh, and the public petitions. People were threatening to ban her from broadcast networks entirely.
Right. A newly formed label has zero financial buffer to weather that kind of boycott. It leaves the agency with no choice but to sever ties to stop the bleeding. It's like watching a train derail in slow motion, honestly. One out-of-context clip can erase a 19-year career in K-pop.
Yeah, the speed of that cancellation is terrifying. Netizens were actively organizing boycott hashtags, just demanding she be exiled from the industry. The court of public opinion basically convicted her based on a 15-second out-of-context television news package.
But I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Looking strictly at the events, even knowing the video was edited, if you witness a violent assault on a minor, shouldn't your immediate adult instinct be to dial 112 for the police, rather than leaving the immediate vicinity to find a friend?
Right, that's what everyone was saying.
That flight response, even if fueled by panic, is exactly what JTBC and the public latched onto. It's hard not to judge an adult walking away from a bleeding teenager.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. That is the exact question every single netizen was asking. It feels like this massive moral failure when you watch it from the safety of your couch. But wait until you hear what netizens uncovered when the full 90-second CCTV footage was finally analyzed.
It's crazy.
It completely shatters the media's narrative. The Seoulite TV analysis brilliantly deconstructs the psychology of that alleyway, and it forces you to realize how chaotic and dangerous the reality was on the ground.
Yeah, because the catalyst for the violence is one of the most tragic misunderstandings in recent pop culture history.
It really is.
The CCTV analysis breaks down the moments right after the fan backs away. He has his phone in his hand, and suddenly, it starts flashing.
Right, and it was almost certainly a standard phone notification, like maybe his mom calling him late at night, triggering the flashlight accessibility feature.
Which happens to people all the time.
All the time. But you have to view this through the lens of the environment. You have a group of drunk, overly macho guys standing in a dark alley. To them, a sudden flashing light looks exactly like a camera flash.
It's this cultural tripwire that accidentally triggered a VIP bodyguard complex in the worst possible way.
Precisely. They instantly assumed this teenager was taking illicit, non-consensual photos of Jessi. It just activated this aggressive, performative protection mode. The fan naturally got defensive because, well, he wasn't taking photos.
Right, he was just holding his phone.
Yeah, but that perceived disrespect and misinterpretation is exactly what sent Joker over the edge.
So the frame-by-frame breakdown of Jessi's reaction during those 90 seconds completely rewrites the story. The initial JTBC reports claim she froze and fled.
Which is so unfair.
Because the raw footage proves she physically touched the attackers or intervened by proxy like 17 to 18 times.
She was literally in the center of the storm. She wasn't running. She was actively executing a desperate de-escalation strategy against incredibly volatile men.
The physical logistics are just undeniable on the tape. First, she immediately shoves Koala away when he starts getting up in the fan's face.
Yeah.
Then, as Joker surges forward to throw the initial punch, she physically tries to drag Joker backward by his clothes to stop his momentum.
Which, I mean, he's huge.
Right, his sheer size overpowers her, so she shifts tactics. She grabs a taller guy in the group, who's labeled in the analysis as the foreigner friend, and convinces him to step in as a peacemaker.
She weaponized the social dynamics of the group. She knew she couldn't physically restrain these men, so she used her influence to turn one of them into a human shield for the fan.
It's actually brilliant.
It is. And the most strategic move is when she tags in Joker's female friend. You know, every group has that one formidable woman who can handle anyone.
Absolutely.
Jessi essentially directs her to intervene, and this woman manages to catch Joker in an over-the-shoulder grip, literally dragging him out of the CCTV frame.
It is like watching someone field marshal a crisis intervention in real time. Finally, she moves directly toward the fan, placing herself in the crossfire to apologize and shield him. She even physically shoves Koala out of the way a second time when he circles back to instigate more trouble.
Just put yourself in that alleyway. You are a woman in the dark, surrounded by towering, intoxicated men throwing punches. The adrenaline, the sheer physical danger. She utilized psychology, proxy interventions, and spatial awareness just to survive the moment and keep the victim alive.
Yeah.
And that malicious rumor that she just abandoned the kid to go party.
The source material completely debunks it.
Completely.
She consumed 0 alcohol that night.
Okay.
It was Koala's gathering, not hers. When she finally left the immediate perimeter of the alley, she was not fleeing the consequences. She was urgently searching the neighborhood for a mutual friend who possessed enough influence to actually calm Koala down.
Right, because she couldn't do it alone.
Exactly. And the records show that is exactly where the police found her, actively trying to secure help to diffuse the ongoing hostility.
The dissonance between the media's portrayal and her actual actions is staggering, which honestly brings us to the legal battlefield, because public cancellation operates on a totally different wavelength than the justice system.
Very true. So by November 7, 2024, the Seoul Gangnam Police reached their official conclusion. And the legal mechanics here are critical. The victim's family actually filed a formal lawsuit against Jessi, accusing her of harboring a criminal and aiding in his escape.
Which is a huge accusation.
It is, but the police entirely dropped the charges against her. The digital forensics were really the nail in the coffin here.
Yeah, the phone data.
Right. Investigators confiscated her phone and pulled her data history. They found 0 prior contact with Joker, no texts, no Kako Talk messages, no call logs.
Nothing.
She met him for the very first time that night, simply because he was a friend of a friend who tagged along to Koala's event. She couldn't provide his identity to the police because she genuinely had no idea who he was.
That makes total sense.
The unedited CCTV tape, combined with the hard data from her phone, validated every single syllable of her defense. Jessi was cleared legally, but in the K-pop industry, legal innocence doesn't always mean your career survives.
Oh, definitely not.
Coming up, we'll talk about the shocking fate of the attackers and a massive comeback that no one saw coming.
Proving she had no ties to Joker was everything for the fandom, by the way. It proved she wasn't shielding an abuser, she was just caught in the crossfire of a stranger's violence. But as we see all the time in the Hallyu wave, the truth often puts its boots on long after a lie has circled the globe.
The divergence in accountability between Jessi and the actual perpetrators is just maddening.
It's so frustrating.
Joker, the Taiwanese national who actually committed the assault, fled South Korea 3 days after the incident. The police were forced to request an Interpol Red Notice just to track his movements across borders.
The cowardice is infuriating. The man who actually shattered a teenager's face jumps on a plane, leaving Jessi to absorb the wrath of an entire nation.
Yeah.
And the behavior of Koala, the rapper and producer who escalated the tension, is just as aggravating for anyone following the case.
Koala was eventually indicted on assault charges, and his case was formally referred to the prosecution. But the timeline of his accountability is glaring. The incident happened in September 2024.
And he waited 9 months.
Yep.
9 agonizing months while Jessi's career burned to the ground before finally posting a handwritten apology on Instagram on June 5, 2025.
It's unbelievable.
He admitted his terrible judgment escalated a simple misunderstanding and claimed he was holding himself accountable. But, I mean, the silence up to that point was deafening. He allowed a woman to take the public execution for a hostile environment that he actively helped create.
You really have to contrast that cowardice with Jessi's response during the absolute peak of the crisis. Back in October 2024, when the hate train was moving at terminal velocity, she posted incredibly raw, vulnerable statements on her Instagram.
Yeah, I remember reading those.
She held no legal liability. She threw no punches. Yet she absorbed the moral responsibility, writing that she regretted her actions, quote, tens of thousands of times, and expressing deep remorse that she didn't just bypass her friends and go straight to the authorities to protect the victim.
The sociology of this moment within K-pop is profound. Just think about Jessi's entire cultural identity. She is the ultimate Sununi, the strong, unapologetic older sister.
Right.
Her brand, which was built through fierce rap battles and her dominating presence in groups like the Refund Sisters, is entirely predicated on being tough, outspoken, and fiercely independent. She is the idol who speaks her mind when the rest of the industry demands quiet compliance.
She built a multi-million-dollar empire on the promise that she fears absolutely no one.
Exactly. But this incident violently shattered that mythological persona. It forced the fandom to confront a very uncomfortable reality, which is, no matter how fierce your onstage persona is, a woman in a dark alley surrounded by aggressive, drunk men is inherently vulnerable.
Yeah, you can't out-rap a physical assault.
No, you can't. She couldn't just throw on a superhero cape and beat them all up. She was terrified. She was physically outmatched. It humanized the Sununi image in a way that the Korean public, frankly, wasn't ready to process. They wanted her to be invincible, and they punished her when she proved to be human.
The friction between the manufactured idol persona and stark human reality is the defining conflict of this entire story. But the resilience she demonstrated in the aftermath is what makes this deep dive more than just a tragedy.
Absolutely.
Jessi refused to let a manipulated 15-second news clip be the final word on her legacy. On June 27, 2025, after enduring months of industry exile, she executed a highly anticipated comeback.
And let me tell you, the stan energy across social media for this release was electric. International fans and domestic K-nets who had finally seen the truth just rallied behind her.
She dropped a single newsflash. And the business strategy behind this is the real victory.
Oh, it's amazing.
She didn't crawl back to a major legacy agency begging for rehabilitation. She released it under her independently revived UNNI label, securing a massive partnership with BMG for international distribution.
Which is the ultimate flex of economy. The industry machinery tried to discard her based on a frantic rush to judgment.
Yeah.
She survived the hiatus, she outlasted the cancellation, and she returned entirely on her own terms. Newsflash is not just a comeback track, it is a declaration of independence. She's still a vital force in the Hallyu wave, but she is the sole captain of her ship now.
It's an incredible turnaround, and this entire timeline raises a profound question for all of us navigating the digital age. We just analyzed how a tightly edited, sensationalized news broadcast systematically dismantled a woman's 19-year career in a matter of hours. The economic fallout was instantaneous. Meanwhile, the raw 90-second reality locked inside a CCTV camera proved she was desperately fighting to keep the peace and save a teenager from harm.
It's honestly chilling to think about.
It forces you to look at the pop culture landscape and wonder, how many other celebrity downfalls, how many other historical K-pop scandals are just waiting for the raw, unedited tape to finally be released. The next time a headline demands your outrage, will you join the mob or will you wait for the full footage?
That is the real question. And hey, if you love staying updated on your favorites, diving into the psychology of the industry, and getting the real truth behind the headlines, make sure you subscribe to StarScope K Report. You've got even bigger scoops ahead.
You've been listening to StarScope K Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.